Hello, I'm Frost, and welcome to my Is It For You guides. In these guides, I provide an outline of a science fiction game and help you decide whether it is indeed for you or not. In this particular episode, I'm going to be covering No Man's Sky. Welcome back. So we're going to start off with the game type. So it is an exploration stroke survival game. And along the way, you collect items, you upgrade your items. There's an amount of trading and a small amount of combat, although that has increased recently with the Desolation update. The game was originally produced in 2016 by Hello Games and was launched in the summer of 2016. And the game back then did not get off to a good start. There was basically an issue of over-promising what the game would actually entail, and there was a bit of a kickback. Now, I have to say straight away, 4 years later, at the time shooting this video, the game has come a long way. So if you originally looked at it back in 2016, you need to revisit it because it's now a very different game. It is primarily single player, although there is a multiplayer option which is based around sort of weekend events. And this game is available for the PC, the PS4 and Xbox. And most notably, it's also got VR support. Now, what is the premise of the game? Well, you are a human explorer who's called a traveler, and you embark on a campaign that's going to lead you on a mission to the center of the galaxy. Now, you start off on a random planet near a crashed spacecraft, and the tutorial helps you build that spacecraft and get underway. And you start with an exosuit, which includes a jetpack and a multi-tool. Now, this multi-tool, as the name suggests, does all sorts of things. It helps you extract resources from the planet, first of all using just a mining laser, and then you get sort of terrain manipulators that allow you to modify the terrain and dig into the ground or even create terrain. You then have a scanner so that you can scan items around you, and you then have weapons as well. So like it says, a multi-tool. Now the whole idea is you run around and you acquire resources and exploration data, and then you can sell both of these, and in return you will then get the ability to buy blueprints and modules to upgrade not only your suit, but your multi-tool, your jetpack, and ships as and when they come along later on in the game. Now you can also buy new ships, and you can also acquire these freighters, which are essentially mobile storage devices, and you can also build up a fleet for the purpose of trading and exploration. Now, the way that you progress through the game is you will meet 3 different races. These are the Gek, the Korvax, and the Vakeen. And with these 3 races, you slowly but surely start to learn their language and start to get an idea of what they're actually talking about. And you will then also be interacting with these Atlas stations. Now, the Atlas stations are the main purpose of the campaign. They lead you on your path, and along the way you will encounter this structure called the Anomaly. And the Anomaly, as well as serving as a kind of multiplayer hub, is also where 2 characters that are key to the whole campaign are based. And from there we can then also earn units. Now, these units come from trade and selling exploration data, as I mentioned before, and you have with the units you can buy various items, but you then have a secondary currency called nanites, and these nanites are mostly used from upgrades, and you normally get these from drops, from missions and sentinels, and we'll come on to the sentinels in a minute. Then you can set up bases, and in these bases you can then produce goods, you can employ researchers to develop and unlock blueprints, and then you go around your merry way, you go exploring various planets. Planets have different conditions, so that you can be on a frost planet, you can be on a fire planet, you can be on a water-based planet. And on some of these planets are heavily populated with the Sentinels. Now, the Sentinels are robot drones that are protecting various structures, and you have to fight these. Now, I've mentioned planets. Now, these planets are virtually unlimited. I mean, there is a number, but it's huge because they are procedurally generated. So they are generated on the fly. Now, the thing is with a lot of these kind of games, you end up spending a lot of time traveling between planets. And in the case of No Man's Sky, we don't have this. This is one element that's very good. You have these teleporters. And once you've found a planet and you've dropped in a teleporter, or you've visited a station in a particular solar system, then you can then travel with a teleport and just get there in a few seconds. And the other thing that they've done as well is they've kind of done a warp for your ship. So even traveling between planets is actually very, very quick. So there's no sort of grinding from lots of long travels. Now moving on to the difficulty of the game, it is easy. It is very much, the focus is on exploration rather than survival. And once you get the right mods for your exosuit, then even the harsh condition planets are not an issue for it. Now the combat is very much optional. There is a little bit of space combat with some pirates, and the Sentinels are your kind of primary combat that you'll come across. Now the Sentinels are pretty tough early game, but once you get a few modules on your exosuit and you get some decent weapons, then they are pretty much, I would say, pretty straightforward. Then I mentioned earlier about Desolation. So Desolation is an update that was added to No Man's Sky. And with Desolation, what we get is derelict freighters, and these are much more combat focused, and you have alien infestations that you will need to clear up. So in terms of pace, with the pace is relaxed. It's an easygoing campaign. It's easy to follow. You just follow the instructions and just progress as you go along. And the focus, like I said, is very much on exploration. At any time you can jump away from the campaign and focus on grinding for resources, so you can get units and blueprints, you can build up your base, and then you can just drop back into the campaign as and when you feel like. Now the immersiveness of the game, I would say, is excellent at first. The alien worlds are superb. It's so colourful and very pretty, and you want to explore and find out all these new things. But what happens is that because these worlds are procedurally generated, there are a finite number of resources or assets that are added into the game. And so eventually what you will find is that whilst the planet may be new, the assets will be similar to what you've seen in the past, but just with a different name and a slightly different combination. So the immersiveness starts to go away once you become familiar with all the various assets that are in the game. Now we come on to replayability. Now with replayability, I personally have put in about 70 hours into the game, and that's not including going down doing the Living Ships campaign or doing any of the Desolation stuff. And like I said, because of the fact that the assets start to repeat after a while, the game can get quite repetitive for me, I feel, after about that kind of time. So you'll definitely get a good 30 to 40 hours kind of getting into the game. Then after that, you are very much into collection mode, and it will be a case of collecting all the various different exocraft, collecting different ships and building a bigger base. But fortunately, the main thing that I will say with the replayability is the updates do bring you back. And Hello Games have been very, very good with this recently. We've had the Living Ships, which was slightly different to all the other updates because it actually required Quicksilver. And Quicksilver requires that you engage in kind of these weekend events and Nexus-based events. And I think they realized that wasn't really the way to go. And so the updates that have happened since then, like, for example, the Exocraft, the Minotaur, the Walker exosuit, or exocraft should I say, and the Desolation update don't require you to acquire Quicksilver. They're just a natural addition to the game and they just pop up. But either way, the updates are providing more replayability. In terms of time sink, it is very high at first. You want to see what's on the next world. You want to find the next new thing. And you therefore find yourself putting in a lot of time just visiting one more planet, going to one more solar system. But then after a while, that then flattens off until new content arrives from Hello Games. Now, the highlights for me are the look and feel of it. It's very colourful, and it's got this kind of really early sci-fi vibe, from the 50s and 60s. There's kind of exploration, wondrous kind of alien planet situation, and I believe that's what the developers were trying to achieve with it. And if that's the case, then I feel that they have actually done that. The early exploring is great fun, and obviously base building, is always a bonus, especially if you play Space Engineers or any other kind of, SimCity, city skyline. You like building things, then obviously, you will get pleasure from base building in No Man's Sky. Although the base building is nowhere near as developed as in some of the other games, I believe that they are trying to add more modules as we go along. So my overview of it is, as I mentioned at the very beginning, 2020 is a very, very different game for No Man's Sky than it was in 2016. It is a relaxing adventure with devs that are looking to produce new content, and that gives me confidence for the future of No Man's Sky. Now, finally, we come on to YouTube guides. And to me, the one of the best YouTube guides you can find is a gentleman called Craze Gaming, who produces a lot of content and a lot of how-tos and news on No Man's Sky. So I suggest you check out his channel, and I will link it below. And that wraps it up for No Man's Sky. Hopefully that's given you a good idea of what it's all about. And if you enjoyed that, then please give me a like. And if you like sci-fi based gaming, then please be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell icon for notifications. I do release on a regular basis, normally about twice a week. And also I stream twice a week on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And I live stream sci-fi games. So hopefully you come and join me. I'm streaming right here on YouTube. That's it for this video. Until the next one. Bye.